Welcome everybody, my name is Michael, and today we are discussing about having your car for Turo up online to rent the vehicle while getting a second vehicle as your personal car and then slowly turning it into a fleet. There's a lot of downsides to this though. It's not like Airbnb where there's a little bit of downsides, but for the most part, for many apartments in many places, usually with less regulation, if you're going to New York City, well, then it's going to get a little tricky. But in many cases, you are able to make good money. And there's always some risk involved. But one of the primary risks with Turo is, first of all, your car gets damaged, destroyed, something happens to it, maybe it gets stolen, and potentially insurance might not cover everything, or it might not cover anything at all. Maybe Turo might cover something, maybe they might not cover anything at all. Maybe they might pay you a little bit more for one damaged car, but the second damaged car, you lose $5,000. Now with Turo, the greatest thing about that for the customer is just like Airbnb, you can go to any city, and in some cases it's a lot cheaper than going to a rental car company. Some cases it's a little bit more convenient, and in some cases you might get a really nice car for a pretty decent price, sometimes even amazing deal, unlimited miles. But there we go, we have another negative where some of these Turo entrepreneurs don't know what they're doing, and they're giving unlimited miles on a vehicle, and someone might take that literally and put 5,000 miles on it in a matter of a week. And if you have a luxury car, some of these are, Mercedes GLSs, S-Classes, you have 7 Series, Audi A8s, maybe even exotics, Bentleys, Bugattis, not Bugattis, I haven't seen one yet, but Rolls Royces, Lamborghinis, I've seen those. I've seen Teslas worth $150,000 that have had 3,000 miles put on in a single week. And then of course with that you have tires that are getting destroyed. You might have people who are smoking in your vehicle. But one of the greatest risks that no one really is talking about, and it's the first thing I thought about, I live in Illinois where there's iPass. How do you pay for iPass? Well, the customer is responsible for that, but you're also responsible for the GPS location of that vehicle. So you have to install equipment to know exactly where that vehicle is going, because alongside with tolls, what about tickets? What if that's your plate? Now, if you have a fleet, it's a little bit easier.
So I've been thinking about Turo because, well, I work at a car dealership, and if it would be possible, if I had a better credit score and a larger down payment, which it will be possible in the future, should it make sense to have one personal vehicle and then rent another vehicle that you're paying off but close to paying off on Turo? And Turo could help pay off the difference and give you a little bit of profit, and then you're able to buy another car and another and slowly make a fleet. Well, if you have a fleet, you're going to have fleet plates, but alongside that you're going to have different taxes, different regulations. It's very strict in the city of Chicago technically. I've been reading about this. I know it's very different in every single city and state, but in the city of Chicago, Turo doesn't qualify for leases and fleet plates and all of this stuff, and it gets very tricky. So the easiest thing you can do is be a dealership, run a dealership, or run a limo company, and then you have a fleet. Because I've been looking on Turo, and it looks like the people who have the largest amount of vehicles, the fleets, are one of 3 categories. The big boys who are just millionaires and they've invested in hundreds of vehicles. Maybe they started from a couple and they saw it's a good idea and whatever. So these are few and far between, but some of them, all right, they've been around for a long time, or maybe they've just had a lot of money from another industry and they get into it. Then you have the big boys who are dealerships and mechanic shops, and people have access to a lot of vehicles, and some of these vehicles are sitting around, so might as well make some money and put them on Turo. Maybe rental car companies, whatever. It doesn't matter, because you're going to be surprised. You might see rental car companies or dealerships putting their own vehicles on Turo. And then the final one is limo services, taxi services, people who already have access to the resources, but they've got some extra cars and they want to make some extra money. And some of these cars are luxury cars, just like with the dealerships. There's one that hosts a ton of really fun ones, and it's actually nearby my house. They have like this golden Lambo. It's crazy, but they didn't put that one on Turo. They did put some Maseratis, BMWs, Mercedes. I think there's one Porsche, one Tesla, like normal cars, but these cars are a couple $100 a day. I was looking at my own vehicle, the Volvo S60, and this one, there's one in my local area who's renting it for like close to $70 a day, and I think mine's a year newer, or it's a better package than hers. The only thing is mine is catching up on the miles. So if I was to do Turo, I think the limit, last I read, 120, 130,000 miles. I'm at 106, and I'm putting it pretty fast on 1,000 to 2,000 miles a month. So this would only be temporary just with this vehicle, but the number one thing that's scaring me is the tickets. I don't want tickets on my personal profile, and there's people who have been complaining that Turo sometimes may not pay for damages, sometimes may not pay for the tickets. You have to have the proof for tickets within a 30-day period or 90-day period or whatever it was, but for the city of Chicago, there was a lot of cases where it took longer, and by the time you got it, you couldn't really do anything. And it's like, well, I don't want to pay tickets. I don't want to go to lawyers and court and whatnot, and I don't want to deal with that. I don't want any points. I have a perfect driving record. I've gotten a speeding warning, but a warning, that's it. I've never gotten a ticket in America for speeding or parking or anything. I have a perfect record, and I want to keep it that way because that is helping my insurance stay, well, it's high, but stay relatively low for my age for being a 24-year-old male. As soon as I hit 25, though, it should go down a little bit, which I'm excited for. A couple more months to go. Woohoo! So I want my insurance to be rather decent, and I'm very afraid about that. And I'm also afraid of any run-ins with the law. I don't want that because you never know who's driving your vehicle, and there might be some bad apples here and there. That's why you want to raise the prices, and also for deliveries, airport deliveries and stuff like that. I'm going to be at work a lot. I work a lot at the dealership, and it's kind of tough to plan around your week when you've got extra side hobbies. And yes, you want to make some extra money, but with this, you have to be paid very well, and I'd only be able to deliver it some days off, Tuesdays and Sundays, potentially Wednesday morning because I have that free, but then I've got other stuff to do. So most people are saying if it's an airport delivery or a delivery of any sort and you don't want to do it, just raise it to $100 or $200 delivery fee. If someone pays for it, if they're coming straight from the airport, it's usually worth it in that case because it covers the Uber and whatnot, and I might do that. So I would only really do it from where I'm living, sorta, not exactly my place, but nearby. It's definitely something that I'm considering because I do want a different vehicle. My back hurts, and this vehicle, I like it. There's a lot that I love about this vehicle. I think it's a premium vehicle that could be a decent Turo car. The only thing is there's a lot of downsides to it. What ifs, right? And maybe everything's going to be fine, but I'd rather prepare. Oh, there goes the Dodge Challenger SRT, the one that rhymes with Bellcat. So we got one of those. I don't like it. It's chill out. So I'm looking for side hustles, and I'm looking what to do with this vehicle. If there is no risk, obviously you're not going to make as much money, but some of these risks, there's a lot of liability that you might make a couple $100 profit, and it's just like Uber where you have to talk about the depreciation of the vehicle, you have to talk about the maintenance of the vehicle. So far my vehicle's running just fine. I would take it in for service just to see if anything does need to be serviced before. My tires are fine, everything's fine. I wouldn't start it this month, but I would start it if I had a different car. I'm thinking of potentially getting another cheap car for myself, a Kia Optima. We've got a Kia Optima for $14,000, and it's got good legroom. It's a base model, but that could be a potential car for me to use while I Turo this one out. And in the future, once I pay off one of these cars, that I would, and my credit score gets better and higher income and whatnot, that I'm able to get a second car for Turo and kind of swap between the three and start to build up a fleet that way. But for right now, it's just a dream. I'm still doing research probably for the next couple of months because I'm not sure if it's worth it. I do like the idea of having extra money, kind of a side hustle thing, but I don't want it to turn into like a DoorDash Uber type situation where you're earning a decent amount of money. However, you end up paying a lot for gas and depreciation and bills, and sometimes it may not make sense. So I want it to make sense. I don't want to work for $5 an hour and potentially ruin my car. So just have to do a little bit more research. But there are people who are making money, and there are people who are rather successful. Now, Turo supposedly used to make a lot more money for people, but as with all apps, it is always better usually in the beginning. So if anybody has experience with Turo, just let me know. I will be testing out Turo probably within the next couple of months also as a customer, just because I've never used it before. I've used car sharing, car rental apps plenty of times in Europe, probably I've rented 30, 40 different vehicles, different models, different makes, and probably did it well over 100, 200 times. I don't know. There was 3 separate apps in Poland that I used. One of them is no longer here. Inoji Go, I love that. You know, the BMW i3s and i3s, that was fun. No longer an option. Then Panek car sharing, that was great. And then there was another one which had like Renaults and stuff, and it was not really that good. So it's definitely something that was a fun option, and I like the appeal of it. I think Turo is probably a good idea, but I'm not sure if it's executed that well. So let me know. This channel is not only crypto, but it's a personal finance channel. We're here to make some money so that in the future we have more money for crypto. And I'm always open to new ideas. If someone has any insight into Turo, or if you have any insight into just general stuff like Airbnb or Turo or crypto ATMs, but that requires less capital, let me know. Let me know what you're doing that is a good side hustle that doesn't require that much investment, that doesn't require that much time, and makes a decent amount. I'm not talking about, you know, a ton of money, but just an extra couple $100 per month would be great, because you're always able to take that couple hundred and invest it and slowly grow it until you got an extra 1,000, 2,000 coming in every month from a side hustle. And that's fantastic, because that gives you first of all, better chances of getting loans to start up a larger business. And also, it gives you extra money to play around with, to pay off debts, to invest. And, ooh, there's a nice Porsche. Wow, that'd be a great Turo car. A Porsche 997. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and take care. Bye.